Well, this is leftover walnut from that baby cradle job, and my buddy, he makes things like breakfast sausages and things, and he needs a butcher block. Since he's always given me free sausages, it's time to give back. What I did was cut them into strips. They're as wide as they are tall, and then cut them this way, and then re-glue them together so that what he has to pound down on is the end grain, which takes a blow from a cleaver a whole lot better than cross grain. I'm thinking, so far so good. Never made one of these before. Ouch. A little bit of the wood came up here, which doesn't matter because this surface is going to get glued to a whole bunch of other similar surfaces, so we're cool. And we are on our way. I set up the stop here to be just under the thickness of this board because I want to maximize my surface area. And these are a couple of samples of some paper thin cuts that I took off the edge just to see how good my glue lines are. 15 and 16. That's a nice even number. This glue sets up pretty quick. Tight bond 2 sets up quicker than tight bond 3. The biscuit serves mostly, in this case, obviously it makes the joint stronger, but it also locates the surfaces one to the other. That's 1. That's 2. I'm gluing them slightly askew. See there's like 5 mil difference there? Mm-hmm. That's because I don't want my join lines to be exactly on against each other. It makes it stronger. He's going to be whacking it, right? Right. And on piece number 18. It's a dirty jab. Upside down. If I didn't have these biscuits, things would be sliding all over the shop. Literally. Yeah. Gravity's been working against me. So if I see glue ooze out from every crack up top, I know definitely hit the bottom surfaces. Wow, that grain is really pretty. The question is, what do you finish it with?
Or if there's something natural that fights bacteria.
There is this one Danish oil that says baby proof on it, but you know.
That could mean a lot of things.
It sure does. It sure does have a noxious smell when you apply it. Better be safe than sorry. Look at that. Holy macaroni. Flush. The reason it's staggered is just so that my glue lines aren't exactly meshing with each other. I'll cut them flush and then put a frame around it. Try and make it so that it retains juices and stuff that might want to drip off the back and the sides or whatever. Today I was watching the Discovery, and the guys that buy old places and restore what they can, they found this, coincidentally, I started this project yesterday, and this morning they found this old butcher table, right? Mm-hmm. And it had, around the perimeter on 3 sides, it had a curved up backsplash. Mm-hmm. Here's this jig I made to make a frame that goes around it with a joint like that. This thing's being built to be given to his grandchildren. So what I'm getting ready to do is push this thing through the table saw and give it finger joints. Now we get to see if they fit. Looks like they fit to me. Cool. Okay, this is the underside of the board, because any, rip out from the blade, which is turning this way, pull the fibers up, and that's not what you want visible from the working side of the piece. backsplash to curve down and meet the surface of the chopping block. And the problem is getting a router in there perfectly. So what I did was I screwed them all to a straight piece of wood from underneath, which won't matter because it's the holes that I've created are hidden. And I put it through the shaper against a fence, increasingly deep, and I'm hoping that I get a result that looks pretty. I did not. I think I'm gonna end up having to shove wafers in there, glue them in, and do a lot of hand sanding.
It's not your average cutting board, is it?
Backsplashes that were rounded and met the surface of the thing on the three sides, but this side had to be flush, right? The trough would be blood back here.
Yeah.
So we got to get the sides on now. This thing is traveling within very tight tolerances. Looks to me like we're pretty much snug. Well, what's going on here is I've turned this thing over and discovered that there was a few discrepancies in height, especially over here. But I set up this flat perimeter and I put my router on a big board. The board will be guided by the perimeter and I can continue to clean up any discrepancies. Okay, the rest we're going to sand. While you weren't looking, I worked from the bottom with a round bit and just made a little hand relief underneath this chopping block. And now I'd like to make some feet for it and embed them in the bottom. I'd imagine that wouldn't be a very desirable thing to have this thing actually sitting in blood. That'll save them having to wash the back of it periodically. One thing I'd like to point out is that the radius of this copy bit, which has the cutter below the bearing, is the same as the radius as the bit that I shaped the feet with. And that ensures for a nice snug fit. I'm putting my feet in at 45-degree angles at the corners for no particular reason other than I thought it'd be cool. Look at that. There's an example of why they say don't wear loose clothing when you're operating machinery. Got me. Well, lucky for me, this tube of silicone is the same radius as what I'm trying to sand, because there's not a machine that's going to sand that for me without leaving scratches against the grain. And I can see pretty quick results. Well, I honestly thought that this was going to be used in an actual butcher shop type arena, and the guy came and he says, "Hey, I want you to carve your name in the bottom, and I'm going to take it home and use it as a showpiece." So now all those nasty little machining marks that I thought I wouldn't have to deal with are in my face. So far I've been sanding that for about an hour at 40 grit, and we've still got a ways to go. Check back in tomorrow and see if I'm done. Now that's the bottom of the chop block that I made. And they wanted me to sink that in, so I did that. And the bottom of it is being sealed with polyurethane based finish. And the actual work surface will be sealed with mineral oil, which is food safe, as you can see on the label. And you simply just rub it in.